Welcome back to another episode of Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm excited. We have a special guest today. But before we lock in, I'm here with my main man, Patrick Valdez. And for those who don't know what the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast is, this is just a community where we leverage our love for sports while highlighting the journeys of coaches, trainers, current and former athletes. I'm Big Dave. And again, this is the highlight reel. Patrick Valdez. And before we get started, I want everyone to go right now, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast YouTube channel. You can find us on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can go follow us on IG. That is Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast on IG. You can follow us on Facebook. The Facebook page is Talk Your Ish Sports Podcast. So again, lock in with us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on IG. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. And without further ado, I want to really get into, our special guest, Coach. Coach is, before I say his name, I just want to run down some things because this man has accomplished so much in his career and he continues to do so. He's an inspiration to a lot of young people and a lot of young and up-and-coming coaches, trainers, and athletes. So Coach is a multi-platinum producer in the music industry. He was out here getting and making them hits. He's an entrepreneur, holds a doctorate a Doctor of Divinity. He was a co-director for the Compton Magic. And with the Compton Magic, they were the 2018 national champions. Coach is also an NBA scout and the college scout. And just without further ado, I want to welcome head coach of the Cathedral High School in downtown Los Angeles, men's basketball coach, Coach Middlebrooks.
What's happening, fellas? Glad to be here, man. Appreciate you having us.
No, definitely.
Glad to have you. It's about to be lit. What's up, P?
Coach, Detroit, the Motor City. Listen, one of the most beautiful places in, the country, enriched with, a lot of culture, a lot of history, definitely most important, sports. But on the flip side of things, it was also known for a lot of violence. At one point, it was one of the it was labeled the murder capital of the United States. And I'm just wondering, Coach, how do you make it up out of that?
Yeah, man, I'm going to share this with you. So I was talking to some kids back in Detroit not long ago, and that is the reality. So I graduated high school in 1987 when it hit its peak in terms of murders. And then from there, thank God it went down. But the attitude, Detroit versus everybody, was just kind of a real deal for people. So for me, you being from Detroit, you learn very quickly the world's not going to baby you. The world's not very understanding. But the flip side is, like you said, Detroit is all about lifestyle. So music creates opportunity. Culture creates opportunity. Fashion creates opportunity. And hoop, quite frankly. So, how I end up getting out is college and education and basketball. Basketball and my ability to play the game got me to college. And it didn't cost me anything to go to college. And then while I'm in college, that's when the music opportunities kind of opened themselves up. So November-ish of my junior year, I get my first record deal. So I leave college, you know what I'm saying? So God really blessed me, man. So I never even look at it like I got out. It's kind of like, I tell people, I try to be a leaf in the wind. God is blowing the wind, and I'm kind of flow with it. And just, how life is, it's just organic.
Right.
That's my whole deal. So, I grew up, so the interesting thing is, too, I grew up 2 blocks from where Berry Gordy, who's the founder of Motown, used to live.
Wow.
So I'm going to give you another thing about how God works. So, I wanted to be Berry Gordy, man. My godfather was part of the Funk Brothers, and, but I never met Mr. Gordy, man. You know what I'm saying? And I come to LA, He's out here. I never get to meet him. You know, I'm trying to be him though. You know what I'm saying? And so back to basketball, and I'm coaching and doing my thing. And a guy brings his son, joins our program and it was crazy because the guy came through. So there's the first rapper I produced, Tommy G, when I got to LA. He's who brought this guy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But he brings the guy, I meet him, meet his son. Son's in my program for a couple years. And then after that, I never asked him what he did. And one day he said, man, I'm going to sit down and talk to you. He said, man, you know, I run Barry Gordy's life. Like, oh, okay. Kind of cool. And he was like, yeah. So, you know, I've seen what you did. Obviously, I've always done my research on you. And you know, I'm going to create an opportunity for you to not only meet Mr. Gordy, but I'm going to create an opportunity for you to build a relationship with him. And, you know, lo and behold, man, you got that. So, like, I'm standing in Barry Gordy's crib in Bel Air, hanging with this dude, got the phone number, like, call me whenever. Like, man, that's God, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just telling people, like, you know, I feel like if you try to do the right things, which I've always tried to do, you know, and just keep working at it, you know, things work out for you. But I give that story to say I don't know as much as that, like, I had this grandiose plan to get out of Detroit, but opportunity, doors just kept opening. And so that's kind of how things have come together for me.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. But Coach, let the people know how your sports journey started.
So my journey, man, I was a kid like anybody else playing sports, you know, played softball, basketball, baseball. I played ice hockey being from Detroit. We played at Jack Adams Arena, all-black hockey team. People don't know about that. I really need to make a movie about that, to be honest. But I was horrible, man. I wasn't good at anything.
Really?
So I was a musician. So I'm practicing instruments. I play 9 instruments, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a certified studio engineer, this and that. So I was horrible. So I just was there with my boys because they went, or my cousins. So I would sit on the end of the bench. Get it. But
playing the tambourine, huh?
Yeah, man. It was crazy. But then, you know, I'm one of those guys that I'm a competitor.
Right.
So that day came, and I really can't tell you when the day came. I said, I really want to be good in basketball. So I just went to the library, read books. That's where you had to go. Y'all got Google and all that now, I understand, but I had to go to the library, you know, read books, watch some film, whatever, and I trained myself. But also a big reason for that was to get on the court at the park, you had to have some money, and you had to have game. And if you lost your money, you were off the court and you wasn't coming back. So I was like, man, so I can make money doing this. I got really good.
Hustler came up out you.
Yeah. Right. The Detroit.
So I would just train myself. Then I would go play against kids who were younger than me because I was probably, you know, 12, 13, 14. So I beat up on 9, 10, 11 years old with the stuff I learned. Then I go play guys that were my age, start beating up on them. Then at the church we run, I start beating up on grown folks. Then I went to the park and I started making a little name for myself. And, you know, we were taking cats out and, you know, I was making cake out there, man. You know what I'm saying?
So by that time you already honed your skills. You already felt comfortable. You already knew what. Wow.
Yeah, and that's really my story, how I in the basketball space, how that happened.
How much was the game?
I did not play high school basketball until the 11th grade.
Wow.
How that happened was simply my mom was dating a guy who was a scout for the Pistons, And he was like, why are you playing ice hockey, man? Because he came out to the park, they come pick me up. He's like, man, you can hoop. Like, why aren't you playing on a high school team? And I was like, well, they don't pay, man. Like, I play ice hockey.
About that money.
So he took me to a Red Wings game. And he told, I want you to look to see how many people look like you. I was like, interesting. So he's like, man, you need to pick that ball up. So I play in high school. I do really well. And, you know, I get recruited. I go to college. And, you know, that was the deal. Then once I got in the music business, I stopped. And then my son, who eventually ended up 6'9", but he's probably in the 7th, 8th grade, he comes to me and says, I want to play basketball, because I never, you know, I wasn't pushing basketball on him. He asked me to take him out to the park, whatever. We did that. Then he goes to high school. I drop him off, whatever. Next thing I know, the high school coach is like, man, I heard about your game, whatever. We need a frost-off coach. Will you come do that? And, you know, so I helped out with that. And then I'm helping out with the varsity team. And, you know, the next thing I know, I'm like really coaching kids. You know, so, and it again was never part of a plan. It just kind of organically happened where I was doing that. Now, my son's travel team, I was helping fund the travel team, but I wasn't really coaching. And then I'd pick kids up or just do whatever needed to be done to make that work. But, you know, once I got into coaching, it's just kind of like every year, it's like I'm coaching again. So, but there was definitely, for me, there was never a plan for this. So that's, again, why I feel like God wanted me to coach. And then I ended up retiring from music and all that. And just kind of, this has become what I do. So this is what I do all day, every day.
Super dope.
Yeah.
Coach, I know you mentioned that your mom's boyfriend kind of sparked your interest in playing, you know, high school basketball. Was there, along that journey, you know, was there any one specific, like other specific person, program, or even a moment where that played a really big part in your development?
So you mean in my basketball development or just my overall personal development?
Both.
Yeah, so I would say a lot of people tried to reach me and impact me if we talk about overall personal development. One thing I was, being from Detroit, keeping it real, I was like a broken kid inside. Like, when you're burying people all the time, watching people die, like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was a little hothead, you know, but I think what happened is a lot of people planted seeds, watered the seed, and fertilized the seed. And over time, it gave God something to work with, so that after a while, he was able to activate that in me and make it happen. Because I wasn't always the most positive guy. So, you know, there's been a lot of internal change with me over the years. So I can't point to any particular person, because there's so many people and that impacted my life. And then if you get to calling one name, then, you know, somebody's upset you didn't call their name. But I can tell, I mean, it was a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people that really impacted my life, and tried to get me on the right tracks and creating some access and opportunity and things like that. And I'm real appreciative of that. Like I said, on the basketball development side, for me, I'm pretty much a self-taught player. My high school coach had some challenges with me because, again, I'm a park player. So, like, they were talking about shell drill and defensive slides, and I'm like, bruh, give me the ball, move.
Give me the rock.
Give me the rock. That's all I need.
And it's funny because I wish I could have one of my players on here, because I forgot about this. And honestly, I still don't remember it. But he was just telling me yesterday, like, he said, man, the story I tell about you is when we were doing press break and we were having a problem, and you put us in a press and you told us to give you the ball, and you went 1-on-5 and dunked on us and broke our press. I said, man, I don't even remember
Savage.
that.
Straight
But
savage.
that sound like me because it was, that was my thing. Because even teaching kids, one of the things that I do is I tell them, like, this is how I taught myself. So when guys have trainers and this and that, and I take nothing away from trainers. I train some kids when they ask me, and my training's very unorthodox because they're like, well, we've never heard it this way or seen it this way. I said, because I'm a self-taught dude. So when it comes to the hoop game, I had to figure out, and I would, when I was a kid, I would play 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-4 when I was training against guys to get my game together. Because I felt like if I can beat 4 guys that's my age, then when I get out here against these grown men, I'm going to be all good. There's nothing they can do with me. And we do a lot of that even here in my training now. Like when we work on press break, we're going 5 on 8, 9, 10 guys, breaking the press and scoring. And so a lot of college coaches come through here. We get 100+ college coaches a year come through here, and they sit in there like, what are you doing? I said, don't worry about it. I'm the mad scientist.
Mad scientist at work.
Let me cook.
So,
that's dope.
So that's what I would say about my development. But, and a shout out to all the people. They know who they are that, that really impacted my life and tried to get me to do things a certain way. And over time, that happened. So it just took a minute.
That really takes a village, man. It really takes a village.
Yeah.
Facts. So from when you're in high school, you're playing basketball your junior and senior year. You go to Denison. You play the first 2 years there, freshman and sophomore year. Were there players or players while you were playing that inspired you, that you patterned your game around? And once you transitioned to the coach phase, were there coaches in the NBA or college that you were looking at as a template? Like, okay, this is how I want to mold and teach my guys.
Yeah, no, that's part of the problem with me, man. Probably I'm a little too arrogant, and I'm just different, man. Like, I look up to no man. I only look up to God. That's why you hear me say that all the time. Like, everybody's my competition. And I have friends and we're cool, but everybody's my competition. And the guys know that. Like, when I come to the gym, I'm here to beat you. If we're doing business, I'm here to make more money. If it's whatever the case may be, on my wall is Vince Lombardi's what it takes to be number one. And when I walk in my office every day, that's what I'm looking at, because that has always kind of been my deal. So, and I'm talking about from a small kid. So in the 5th grade, I graduated number 1 in my class. In the 8th grade, coming out of middle school, I got the American Legion Award. So I can remember, I'm 50 years old, but I'm telling you, I got the Kiwanis Award for the number 1 student in elementary. Then I got the American Legion Award, which was the number 1 in the 8th grade. I just graduated college, summa cum laude. I'm in 3 honor societies. I got, straight A's. I think I showed my brother my transcript. Like, it's real. You know what I'm saying? The only reason I wasn't number 1 in high school is because I went to 2 different high schools, so I couldn't. I win championships. I'm multi-platinum. I'm intense, man. Like, my whole deal. I'm kind of chill on here, but I can get real intense because everything for me is competition. How can I be number 1? I want to be on top. Everybody's shooting at you. I love everybody hating me. I love haters. And when people are like, love that. It's super energizing, man.
Right. It fuels you.
Yeah. So that's kind of my deal, man. Like, I just feel like I've done it all my life. So, like, now, you know what I'm saying? I tell the kids, because they get mad. They're like, why do we always got to have the first song got to be All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled? Because I said, man, that's my theme song, man. Y'all got to buy in. Get down and lay down. You got to understand.
Get down and lay down.
What it is. This is what it is. And so.
That's super dope. That's dope.
That's just kind of my deal, man. So that's all I can tell everybody on that.
Hey, before you jump into the next question, I just want to speak on that, Coach, for a minute, man. Like, I love the fact that you got that dog in you. Like competition is at the core. Like nowadays, like just regular people, or like just whenever I go out to hoop, there isn't this, like, people want to play, but like it's hard to find a couple guys that actually want to win. So it's like that competition, like no matter what it is, no matter what we're doing, it's a competition. And I'm like that. And sometimes I go overboard, but still, like, I want to be around people who are competitors no matter what they're doing. I think a lot of us, from social media, I think it's made us soft because you see a lot of guys who are like motivators and guys who are trying to inspire folks from like Eric Thomas, all that. So a lot of people feed in that and they get that, but they really ain't got that dog in them. Like they had to be coached to be really competitive. Like I can just see it from like on this interview, like through you, like you ready to go right now.
Yeah, I am. Like we got us on lockdown too. Like we haven't been able to get in the gym. I'm like, man, I'm fiending, man. Like real talk, man.
Dog
like,
at the gate. Dog at the gate.
That's my deal, man. Like, and I don't apologize. I'm unapologetically competitive. Yeah. At the end of the day.
And just hearing you talk, Coach, if I was able to put an athlete right now in your face that reminds me, it's Russell Westbrook. Because Russ has that dog. Russ has that unapologetic like attitude. Like I'm coming out here to bust your ass, and I don't care if you're my boy or nothing like that. I'm coming here to win.
Yeah, you showed up.
Right.
So you did not show up with good intentions. See, this is my problem with people. That guy did not show up with good intentions. You came here to embarrass me. So I'm going to send you home crying. That's what's about to go down.
Yeah,
I'm not hugging you on the way out. Call me tomorrow.
I hope all the young hoopers, all the coaches are listening, man. Teach this dog mentality. Teach competition, man. Us versus the world, man. Like that's really what it's about. Like once you step between the lines, it's go time.
Right.
Yeah, man. No, without question.
Now, but I want to just jump into, Coach. So, at what age did you start noticing that you was dominating, or the game itself, basketball, became easy to you? Because I remember you saying that at 12 you was honing your skills.
I think right when I was around the 8th grade. And the reason I say that is because in the 9th grade, I actually made the varsity team in the 9th grade. I went to the tryout, but I only went to the tryout because my boy Leongo was going. So, again, I'm just hanging with him. Because at Cass Tech, which was my first high school, you had curriculum. So I was in the music curriculum. So with the schedule we had, there was no way I was going to be able to play basketball. But I went out there with him. Next thing I know, I made the team. The coach was like, yeah, we got it. I'm like, I'm not playing for you, bro. Like, I got this going on. I was just out here with my guy. But, 8th, 9th grade is when I started realizing, like, I'm a little different. Now, that being said, I was a very good player. But I also tell you this. I used to play at St. Cecilia. Sam Washington ran that, and we play in pro-ams. I also never felt like I was like NBA. Like, I know I was a hood superstar without question. But, like, I went down. We were playing in a pickup game, and I crossed up. We were playing. Joe Dumars was out there. He's guarding me. I knocked down a shot. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. This dude, man,
this is why he was with the Pistons?
I'm running back. I don't see the dude. He's on the other side of me getting a layup, and I subbed myself out. And I said, that's when I knew. I said, that's a pro. That Joe Dumars is that guy. I'm like a dude, but he's a guy. But then I still went back out there and tried to get him.
Right. Because that was a dog in you. That was a dog in you.
Man, I was like, I can't just get embarrassed, but and that's why I got a lot of relations with a lot of NBA guys, and I played with them and whatever. But I was a pretty good player. But like I said, music was really my thing. I think basketball became more this tool that I've been able to use to impact kids and communicate with kids. It's a language that I can connect with young people with, and also create opportunities for them and hopefully change the trajectory of their life with it. But all that being said, I think 8th, 9th, that's when I kind of knew I'm pretty good at this game. That's for sure.
So around that time, as you're going through your journey, what were some of the pivotal moments, or like, what were some of the most challenging moments for you on the court that either in practice or games that you can look to, like, okay, I remember that because this is what happened. This is how either I got better, or you probably like, okay, I probably should have did this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as a player, I think the most challenging thing for me was to assimilate to an organized basketball structure, particularly in high school, because I hadn't done it, And my coach, I'll never forget, man, like he got so ticked with me one day in practice, like he really picked me up and slammed me against the wall. Coach Faciola, never forget that cat, man. And because I just wasn't doing what they were asking me to do. And I said, Coach, the ball went in the hole. Isn't that the objective? No, but we got to do this and we got to be organized. I said, bro, I don't need all that. I don't need screens. Give me the ball. If you want to be a great coach, here's some great advice. Give Middlebrooks the ball. Just tell all the players that. Tell everybody, give him the ball. And he's going to go get it done. But my coach would get frustrated, and he thought I wasn't a very good player because of it. And he was very frustrated with me. And I think that issue was interesting. But we still ended up winning the first championship the University League had ever won basketball.
Stand on it. I got rings.
Yeah. Now, we had some great players, too. So, I mean, we had a kid, Kevin Crociata, who was nice. Candia Milton was nice. Kid John Yancey was nice. But at the end of the day, we just, we were able to make it happen. That was my second year there. The first year there, we were struggling a little bit. But he wanted me to play organized, and I didn't know how to do that. Right. And then when I was trying to do it, it made me look bad. You know what I mean? You start feeling like you can't play, and you look lost and like you don't know what you're doing. So then for me, I just go get the ball and then just go score it. So that was probably – those 2 years were the biggest challenges. But what validated me was all these college coaches were coming to look at me. I'm saying, well, you're telling me I'm not very good or I can't do this and that, but what are all these dudes doing here and why they want to give me money to go to school? So it was an interesting dilemma. And I knew I could play. I was making money. I'm like, Doc, like I'm about to leave here and go pick up $2,000.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So it was interesting, man. But love my coach, man. We're cool. We talk to this day. We're good. But I battled with my college coach too, and we're close now and all that. But it was kind of the same thing because. And the way I teach my guys, and that's what a lot of people, they don't understand, like, I teach them your teammate is only your teammate on game day. When we're in practice, this is a straight-out brawl. You know what I'm saying? I tell a big kid, if you 7 foot and you get the ball, don't give it to the point guard. Rebound it, go coast to coast, and dunk them. And people, they don't always necessarily know what to do with that.
Right.
My thing is, unless somebody can stop you, go score the ball, because that's how I played the game, and that's how I see the game being played. And I don't feel that that's being any less than of a teammate. You're helping us win, because again, the objective of the game is to win.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It is to win. It is not to make everybody feel good that, oh, I got to touch the ball on this possession. My thing is, the best way to touch the ball, go rebound it. The best way to touch the ball, go get a steal. You want to do a windmill? Jump the lane on the wing. Point guard the wing. You get that? Nobody in sight.
Right.
So I'm not going to – and I don't design plays for players. So, like, even here, we don't really have sets. We'll run 5 different motion looks. But the idea is for you to get the ball in a spot you like it and make a play.
All right, score that.
And if you can make a play, great. If you can't, come sit down next to me.
That's that Gatorade, bro.
Yeah. And that's how I think. That's how I think the game should be played.
Right.
You know, and I say that to David too because he asked me looking up to people like, and I really tried doing that. Like I tried to learn Phil Jackson's triangle, hated it. I tried to learn, you know, other guys' ways. I've been to coaching clinics. Like I don't go to coaching clinics anymore. I don't because I don't like everybody else's approach to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying my way is the only way, and I respect what they do. We scout them. We try to find their weaknesses, and we try to exploit those weaknesses and attack them. That's how we play. But that's why I don't have a system. Every game we play differently. We do a complete scout. We break that team down, and we create an entire game plan based on that team for that day. So you may see us do some things that day that you'll never see the rest of the season.
Wow.
Because everything is custom. We customize our attack based on that.
Right, for our opponents, yeah.
Yeah, even our defense. I mean, we're going to play man. We're not playing any zones and pressing and all that. But our man and our matchups and the way we're going to defend, are we going to press up on the guy? Are we going to give him cushion? Are we going under the screen, over the screen? Are we going to ice, hedge and recover, ball screen, switch? Whatever we're doing is based on who we're playing and who's in the lineup at that time, which is why also for players that want to play for me, you got to have a pretty high basketball IQ because you got to remember all this stuff. When number 3 checks in, we're icing. But if number 4 has the ball, we're going to hedge and recover. And you got to remember this stuff, you know. But we spend a lot of time, and it's really about paying attention to detail, man.
Right.
And locking in. And each game, you know, we forget about yesterday. We focus on the day. And, again, it's always about be the best version of yourself. And to me, you only can do that if you live in today. And so that's what I try to do. I'm not really thinking about tomorrow or the day after. I'm thinking about today, which frustrates people again with me because they want to plan, set up a meeting, this, that, whatever. But I'm like, you know, I may be dead tomorrow. Like, I don't know that I'm going to see you next week.
No,
so
true story.
I'm trying to just max out on today, like real talk. And I'm trying to go to sleep and ask God, like, if I die, like, am I getting in? Is there something I slipped up on so I can get out here and repent right now? You know what I'm saying? Because I just live in today and live in the moment. That's it.
That's dope. Dope. Thank you. Wow.
It was a lot. Coach, I have 2 questions for you. One of the questions, have you ever coached a player that reminded you of yourself? And how did you handle that player? And my second question is, what led you to California?
Yeah. I coached a kid, Milan Aqua, who was the WAC player of the year last year. He was newcomer of the year before that. Tough as nails kid. How I coached him was I got out of his way.
So you follow your own
Everything I
method.
wanted my coach to do for me, I did for him. I coached him. I taught him in practice, showed him what we wanted to do. And in game time, I just sat down. And let him go.
And just let him go.
Because I don't even call timeouts. Like, one of my philosophies is we get 5 timeouts in high school. I only use those timeouts in the last 4 minutes of a game. So I let guys play. We can be up 30. We can be down 30. I'm not calling timeout. I tell them, figure it out. Because I gave you a game plan.
Right.
Right here, and that's it. I'll talk to you walking up and down the sideline, fix this, do that, but I'm not calling a timeout. Because I think, again, with David's point, today the kids are too soft. They're looking for their mama to save them. Their daddy's out here barking. They're not letting their kids be men. One of the things that we're trying to do is create what I call the Middlebrooks man. And so I feel like part of my job is to help these kids move into manhood and be men. You're not going to have anybody to come save you. You got to get out there and make it and do it. So the best way to do it is just get out there and get that done.
Would you want to show us what a Middlebrooks man is?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
because that's dope, and I think
No, I like that. I like that a lot.
more coaches need to implement this, especially if you're going to be mentors and really getting after these young boys.
So for me, this is what it was. That's the transition of me. Well, that was the old me to the new me. So I use that in terms of how I approach dealing with kids, which is Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. That's why I don't have a bunch of people I look up to, but I'm transformed by the renewing of my mind. So, I feel like our program is great because there's a transformational, intensive, and strategically intentional experience that we use that changes the life trajectory of kids. I mean, and it's 4 really simple points. An all true man with high character, morals, and ethics who embraces a new definition of life and self. When you come from the hood, man, a lot of times you look down on yourself like you're not smart, like you can't man. So we have to take a kid and give them a new definition of life and self. So once I got that new definition of life and self, I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I can operate in these different venues and be successful. The second is an appreciation for the opportunity to access an elite level of education, which many people never have. Now, one of the things, if we go back and talk about being from Detroit and being in a public school, as much as I was number 1 in the class, I was also the product of the worst public school system in the country, right? So now I go to a private school like Liggett, and I'm like in culture shock. I'm like, whoa, what is this? There's a whole nother world out there. When I get to Denison, it's the same thing. Like, man, okay. There's another level to this deal. So one of the things that we're trying to do is give kids that access now, as young as possible and as early as possible. Third is a strong comprehension of the importance of academic excellence, which is consistent with our focus on productivity and value building. A lot of kids and families really don't understand the importance of academic excellence. Like, I meet kids, I'm like, what's your GPA? Oh, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You should know. Do you have any D's or F's? No, I got no D's and F's. Then I get their transcript and there's D's and F's. Or you talk to the parent, they have no idea where their kid is academically. So, trying to get people to comprehend the importance of this deal is super important in their transformation. That's what I needed. Once I understood the importance of the education piece, that also set off a whole nother thing. So you're talking about a guy, when I first took the SAT, you got 400 for signing up for it. And if I remember, I was a 690. By the time I was done, I was at a 1380. And I did that transformation in a year. But it was because I understood it was important and I did the things necessary to improve myself. But I was still mad because I didn't get to 1600. And everybody's like, well, that's a good score. I'm like, no, it's not. So when I went to college, I tried to take it to another level, And so now I was able to graduate with straight A's and all that. And then the fourth thing we try to do is create a skilled student athlete in the sport of basketball who adopts a professional approach to the game and develops a high basketball IQ. And what I mean by that is we teach them all kind of habits, from diet to how to prepare your body, the importance of your core, balance, a lot of things that go beyond just dribbling a basketball and what you're doing on the court. And also looking at, okay, all the way down to Google Calendar, how you're doing your day and planning your day and planning to get in the gym, but getting your schoolwork done and everything being down to the detail, which I feel is a professional approach, not being late. 15 minutes early or better is what's on time. If you come on time, you're late. And those are simple little things that I don't think people pay attention to, probably outside of me, but that's how we run our program. And we demand that kids adjust to that. And you'd be amazed, they totally adjust to it and they learn from it. But more importantly, now they're going to college and they're producing. So now you got Tyler Bay, who wasn't ranked and nobody's checking for him. And I'm not going to put his business out there, but he totally changed who he was academically. But it wasn't just academic. He changed his heart, his mind, because he was trying to leave here. He's like, man, I'm not dealing with this. And then he had to stay. And, you know, everybody, the community around him was like, no, you're going to deal with this and learn. He did it. Now he's the guy that's in the draft, getting drafted in the NBA. And look at how many kids were ranked ahead of him in his class that are either still in college or out the game. Those are the guys that are always interesting to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I feel like our product does. Because our super elite guys, they're good. I'm always interested in these guys that nobody wanted to pay attention to. Like we got a kid, Orlando Robinson at Fresno State right now. Nobody was paying attention to that kid. Now he's the leading scorer as a freshman at Fresno State, second leading rebounder. This year he'll be the leading scorer, and now we got NBA teams calling about him already. Those are the tremendous stories, but that's what this formula and this science that I feel like I've put together, that's what it starts to create when you get kids like that buy into it and say, you know what, coach, I'm willing to try to change, lock into some of these principles and apply them in my life. And the parents, because Orlando's parents were amazing with us. Tyler Bay's mom, amazing with us. Tyler Bay's handler and AAU coach, always been amazing with me. Didn't fight the process, accepted the process and embraced the process. And things are working out for guys like that.
Wow. Talk that shit. Talk your shit.
That's just dope. That's just dope, coach.
I'm glad you said that, man, because on a personal note, I realized that, you know, I've started to put together and implement a plan for my daughter as well, so that she's, you know, well equipped to handle the rigors of this world. And that type of coaching, coach, man, is so important. I just wish more young people, more young coaches could really implement that, so you can really change the trajectory of a lot of young men, you know, Black, Asian, white, Spanish, whatever, man.
We got the girls too now.
And the girls too. Yep.
So like, people don't understand, my organization is pretty vast in terms of what we're doing. I'll give you a snapshot into that. I mean, this is everything. So like when you're talking about the girls, we got Her Game, which is all about, there are no teams involved with Her Game. Everything is about the empowerment of girls in the sports space and what we can do to open doors and opportunities for them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super excited about what we're doing in the girls space. But then we also got the Middlebrooks Angels, which is a dance troupe. Some girls don't want to play basketball. They don't want to play volleyball, whatever. They like to get out here and dance and do their thing. So we got that. So, you know, I do as much as I can too to support the girls space in addition to what we're doing with the guys.
Right. So, Coach, tell us, or just paint a picture for the people, like how, or like why you continue to coach, and how did you turn your passion for coaching or young people into a business? How did it become your entrepreneurial endeavor? How did you do that?
So, yeah, my whole deal has always been about building things. So I look at basketball no different than I look at a business. You create a mission, then you put your visions together, then you put your core values together. Then you got to make sure you write it all down. Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain on tables so that people can run with it. Like, you got to put all that together. You create these detailed business plans, and then you execute the plan. So that's what we ended up doing. Once I made a full commitment to sports, I wrote an entire business plan for that deal. You know, I'm a high school coach, and most people kind of just come out and just do whatever. Well, here at Cathedral and what I do here, part of our business plan is to create a marketing plan every year. So each year when we walk in, I actually have a marketing plan that we do for our program. Obviously we don't have time to go through it, but I'm going to show it to you. Like, there's no hype, no fiction. Like, I really do this. And, it's so for this year, hopefully we can still get out here. I wrote an actual plan. So it's like, we got a theme for the year, rise of resistance, whatever. But then, executive summary, we got the vision. You can appreciate that. You're an MBA guy. You know what I'm saying? Mission. We got the core values, the Stallion Brothers, what they're doing, demographics. We got our season goals. Then I put little pictures in here to remind people of the products we've had that come through, ticket sales, all the way down to that, the education. So we got that. So, we have a multi-level, this is what we're doing. Like, it's all here. Our game day promotions, like, I got a whole plan. So there's nothing that we're doing that's by accident. So if I'm talking to a donor, if I'm talking to a booster, if I'm talking to an advertiser, sponsor, talking to my staff, whatever, they know first and foremost, Coach has spent some real intentional time thinking about this and what we're doing and why we're doing it. We got the community relations. We're out here in the community, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're really doing this at a whole nother level. And it's all intentional. But thank God, I got my SWOT analysis. You know what that is, DB. You know what I'm saying? Look at him smiling. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, man, I got the plan. And it produces these results, man. We win in championships, but more importantly, we're leading people. They have a plan to follow, and they know that their leadership is not just leading them off the edge of a bridge. Right. We've thought this thing through. So, that's just for my high school program. But then, we got all these different layers and levels of different things that we do. I just thought I'd throw that in there and show you because that's how we build the program. I don't really know another way to do it because, again, most of the things I do is all off of biblical principles. So I'm not going to do anything that I don't write the vision for. That could be, anything. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be building a basketball program. It's probably when I'm 70 and it's like, okay, well, like right now, how am I dealing with my grandkids? Like, I write notes. Like, I need to do this. I need to do that. I got a plan. You know what I'm saying? I just sent my daughter this thing, with 4 scriptures. It's like, these are the things you need to be doing as a parent. Like, because I feel like there's a life manual. It's called the Bible. It tells you what to do. It's just we want to reject it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or we want to act like it's whatever. And I just tell people, try it. 30-day money-back guarantee. Do the stuff. If it doesn't work, it is what it is. How I made money, the Bible says, give and it shall be given unto you. Mm-hmm. So I said, whoa, that's how you get rich. You give, not hustle. Give. Given it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give unto your bosom. So that means other people are just going to start bringing me money. So I said, okay, I'm going to try this. And I'm telling you, it works. Just like I gave you the story about Barry Gordy. I'm telling you, that's how kids come to my program. I'm not running around chasing kids. My phone just rings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Most of the business opportunities I've had, people just brought it to me. It all has just come. But it all came from this foundation of just being a giver, which ultimately, before I even got into the Bible piece of that, that was just something I learned through Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And we started doing community service and just give. And it was amazing because it was one of the first times in my life, I told you earlier how I was in a dark place. The first time in my life I started feeling good was because I was giving and doing for somebody else. It wasn't about me. It was just about somebody else. And I was like, wow, man, like I feel good. So at one point I stopped going to class because I was like, man, I just want to do community service. And I was like on crack. I was like, let me just give all day.
He was all in.
Yeah, man, I was definitely all into that. But it's like, that's kind of how I build. So now we're obviously very intentional about all of the different things that we're doing in those relationships. They all have different business plans and models, and I have partners who are doing all kinds of things like, you know, I mean, I love our Compton Magic situation because it was founded by a guy who happens to be one of my best friends on top of it, which makes it great. We're born only a few days apart, the same year, same sign. He grinds as hard as I do, Atop Udaima. But this guy is grinding, man. So when I joined the forces with him, man, it's like wonderful.
So, Coach, I don't mean to cut you off, but like tell the people who are not familiar with Compton Magic what Compton Magic is, what it does, where it's at, and who's come through that program.
Yeah, Compton Magic, man, Rod Palmer and Ato Buddha Ema founded it. What it was founded to do was kids in Compton couldn't afford AAU. So these two guys took the high school team at Compton High, and that became the Magic travel team. And over time, it has grown and evolved into what I believe is the top AAU model in the country. Some people would argue that, but it all aligns with the same business model, quite frankly, that I run Middlebrooks basketball off of. And it's all about culture, social justice, spirituality, and athletics. I mean, we're trying to do good in the hood. We're trying to put millions of dollars in the streets, you know, in terms of scholarships, the community service we do, the giveaways, just everything that gets done, you know, that's what the whole deal is about. It's not about the come up or the hustle. It's really about how can we help kids. And it's amazing when you got programs now like the Louisville Magic, which Ellis Miles started. He's one of our Compton Magic kids from Compton, got to Louisville, played at Louisville, stayed in Louisville, got married there. Now he started a Magic program there. You know, Jared Bayless started Team Bayless down in Arizona, played for us. So now those kids, Kevon Looney, we helped out with my guy, shout out to Big Ward in Milwaukee, but we were working with him. Kevon was on the team. Now it's team, I think they call it Team Kevon Looney or Kevon Looney All-Stars, whatever, but Kevon then jumped in and is funding that, you know what I'm saying? So, and we've impacted a lot of programs. We got the Memphis Magic, my boy Cowboy down in Memphis. Shout out to him. Like, and that's what people don't understand. I'm all over the country, bro.
Yeah.
And we got relationships all over the country. And, you know, and we've tried to do as much to help as many other guys, not try to hoard it to ourselves or talk about how great we are. We know we're good. I mean, we got one of the best models, I think, in the country. But it's not about that. It's about how many other people can we help? How many other people can we put on? How many other people can we create opportunity for, grant access to, so that we can help as many kids and people as we can? So that's what, you know, in a nutshell, the Compton Magic is really about when people don't understand kind of what they're looking at. Now, that being said, you know, we had the number 6 pick in the draft on Yeka Okongwu. I mean, it is what it is. We got guys. But it's equally as much about the guy who doesn't get drafted. You know what I'm saying? It's about those kids, too. It's about all the kids and doing everything that we can to put them in a position. And Tope does that all day. And that's, again, my thing. He quit his job, too, just like me. I don't work. He didn't work. And he's all in. Like, we're all into this hoop thing. It's like hoop or die. That's it. Kids or die. How many kids can we help? But our rent is paid, nice houses, cars, God's blessing us. But it's all off giving. It's really all about giving. It ain't about the hustle. Yeah, man. So I'm going to get off my soapbox because, you know, I got my divinity piece, man. Like, I'm going to get you with it. But I really want people to understand that, like, you can really tap into whatever your personal space is and make a difference and a change and all that, and you're still going to get blessed. Even though, but the goal isn't to get money. See, you got all these prosperity preachers out here and all. I'm not into all that. My whole thing is God is going to take care of you. Whatever your needs are, you'll be straight. You just got to be a giver. So
with that, what is you you're almost 50 years old. You've gone
Almost. I'm 51, man.
51. I OG, half a century. A lot of wisdom. What is it that I know you covered a lot. Be the best version of yourself. No excuses. Really get after it. But what is it that you want to impart on the younger coaches coming up, on the younger players coming up, whether it's through your program or just across this great nation? What do you want to like? What's your vision for high school basketball now and these coaches and players?
I think if I don't get anything else across to people, I'd like to get across to them John 3:30. God must increase and we must decrease. I think too much social media is taking us in a whole direction, and everybody's on this hype and themselves, and now we got referees out here dancing so they can get on a clip and talking crazy to kids. Like, this whole thing is getting messed up. It's really about the kids and helping them transform. So if I could get anything across to the adults, it's, look, man, we had our season and our time. This is about these kids. Get out the camera. You know what I'm saying? Get off the, you don't need to be in the music video, man. You know what I'm saying? The artist needs to be there, not you. And I ain't trying to big up Suge or nothing, but I'm saying I thought when he said that point was very valid. Like, it's about that artist. You already a star. Let them have their day in the sun. You know what I'm saying? And the thing for kids, I think, is I try to get them to understand, appreciate the opportunity and the time that you have this, because I've equally as much had some kids who got cancer, couldn't play anymore. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of different situations, man. This one kid got some kind of spinal something. I don't know what they call it, but like can't hoop. It's over. So I tell kids, man, you got to cherish this time. So every day you come out here, you got to give it 1,000% everything you got. And so that would be what I think, I'm at least trying to communicate to people for sure.
No, definitely, Coach. Coach, so what do you want your legacy to be, or what do you want, everybody around you to remember you for?
Yeah, I was asked that before. I'm be honest with you, man. I don't want to be remembered.
Really?
I want people to find God and transform their lives through me. That's it. And then when I leave here, that's it. All I want them to see is God, because that's what's important. Like, it's just the rest of it's not important, because I believe we were here God put us here for a season and this time to impact these people. It's not for them to make a national holiday about me. Shout out to the frat MLK. I'm glad they did that. And it ain't a shot at that, because I'm glad that happened. But I'm saying, for me personally, like, I know MLK wasn't trying to get a holiday, man. He was trying to really change lives. Now, it's great that they gave him one, or whatever that case may be, but I know he don't care nothing. He wouldn't have cared anything about that. He wouldn't have cared that people remembered him. He cared, like, are y'all going to stop shooting at my people and sicking dogs on them and all that? And that's the same thing I'm on, like, just making sure people find God and they find these principles and concepts that will transform their lives, and I help them do that, and that's it. And if they happen to remember me after I die, cool, but don't remember me to the point where you take your eyes off of what's really the deal. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my thing, because I think a lot of people want that, but the Bible also said, he said, you should put no other gods before me, man. Like, we're not careful when we're seeking legacies and names. We're trying to almost be deities. We want to live beyond the grave, but it wasn't the design for us to live beyond the grave here. So that's where I'm at, unless you believe in reincarnation. But
thanks, Coach, man. We really appreciate that. And before we take a break, I just want to go over one last thing, Coach. If you can just shout out, some of the players that are playing professional or college ball right now, just give them a quick shout out, man. Just just to let the people know, the type of program and what you're producing out there.
Yeah, man. I got too many kids, man. See, and again, if I get to calling guys names, I'll get in trouble.
Just a few. It's all good. The people want to know. Just a few.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't got to go through the whole team, but I mean,
all the
5 or
programs,
6.
Between all the programs we've been involved with, these are the kids that have played in the league or the NFL. Shout out to all these cats. Anything, I was able to play a small part, big part, whatever, in different guys' lives. I appreciate that. But this is what it is. But these are all the programs that produced these kids, and there were a lot of people that were a part of their journey.
Okay, I see Paul George in there. I see Paul George. I'm not a big Paul George fan, but I see him in there.
It's a lot of familiar faces on there.
Yeah, some guys we were able to impact in different ways. So, like, Paul George was part of that group in Palmdale. So there's a whole list of them that didn't even necessarily make. So, yeah, Paul George. We had Chris Faber. We had DJ Haley, who went to a Final Four with VCU, and Shaka Smart, 7-foot kid. We had John Conley. But there's this whole area, like, north of L.A., where these kids didn't have opportunities, and we were trying to figure that out. So I was working with a guy, Lionel Benjamin, up there, and we helped a lot of these kids get up out of there and create opportunity. So some of the kids I've done stuff for, they don't even know I did it for them. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they riding in a car on some gas money. They don't know how that gas money got in there. Then there's other people who I was super hands-on with. But these are all the kids. I keep that list because, people always ask me that question. So I was like, well, we put it together. It's there. But it's there was a big clip, Cam Oliver that came through our situation from up north. Shout out to my guy, Denard, even though he pledged Omega. That was a bad decision. But he got Cam Oliver, and there's a big clip if you go look it up. A kid had this big monster dunk in Australia a couple of days ago to NBL. That's one of our kids, man. So
I think I saw he's wearing a red jersey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I posted that. I put it on our story. Yep, that was lit.
So it's a lot of kids that we've been able to impact. But again, I look at it as I'm just a vessel that God used to do that. So for me, that's why I'm like, it is what it is. But, and I have a lot of partners and a lot of people that have helped us do what we do. I've helped a lot of people get in a position to do some of the things they do. It's just been that kind of thing. So I'm just appreciative of it. And,
well, thanks, Coach, man. I mean, we really appreciate you coming on and talking your shit, man. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into some sports and really get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast. We had to take a quick break, but if you've been locked in with us, man, we've been really rocking out and learning so much from Coach Middlebrooks, man. And we thank you. So right now, this past week we lost, a hero, a giant, a baseball hero, baseball giant, a Hall of Famer, and Hank Aaron. With everything he did. I mean, to me, he's the home run leader. Home run king, and just what he had to go through in terms of the racism, to really climb and to go through the racism in Jim Crow in the South and to really put together an elite Hall of Fame, maybe even the greatest ever conversation type of career, on very like the conditions in which he had to do it, traveling and staying in, motels and probably not being able to stay with his team, eating at, lunch counters or eating behind the restaurants or whatever, just to know that he got up there and let them people know, like, hey, I'm one of the best baseball players ever to play this game. And he sustained it for a good 23 seasons. Mm-hmm. Even after he was 30, he hit the majority of his home runs after 30. And that's not done. Like, you see a decline from the elite players once they hit 30, 31, there's an elite decline, but he sustained this excellence. So, Coach, I mean, like, growing up, how big was Hank Aaron and, like, what did he mean to you?
Yeah, man, he was the epitome of mental toughness, man. Mm. I can't use the word on this recording, but you know what I'm getting at. It's hard to sit there hitting, being called certain names, and, having to deal with certain stuff and still keep your composure and be the consummate professional. So, another guy I wish I had got to meet at some point in my life. I didn't, but he definitely, man, he's right up there among the greats in my mind across sports.
What's your P?
Obviously, I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch him play live, but just hearing the stories and just watching Hank Aaron and just knowing what he had to go through, I mean, it was tough. And to me, I think he has to be in the Mount Rushmores of baseball greats.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Because baseball's always been to me, I feel like baseball's been a white sport. They don't champion their black and brown, athletes, because that's why. And you look at the whole when Hank Aaron was going to break the record, he received death threats after death threats after death threats because they wanted to keep that sport, the face of baseball.
Babe Ruth, yep.
Babe Ruth, a white man. But yeah, I mean, Hank, to me, like I said, he's in the Mount Rushmore of baseball great. I mean, he's in the record books.
Factuals. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's in Cooperstown,
right?
Bronzed up. But to keep going, like on that note, I mean, Muhammad Ali, he's definitely one of my heroes. He had a birthday, a few weeks ago. Coach, tell us, you were a little closer to him than I was, but like when you watched him and when you just saw his impact and what he was talking about and how he was moving, how did that impact you and how you saw the world?
Man, the biggest thing for me wasn't what he did in the ring, it's what he did outside the ring. Like, he basically lost a lot of money and career tanked to take a stand, man. And most people they don't stand for anything, and it's when I think of Muhammad Ali, that's what I think about, man, is that, he was willing to give his all, and that included his wealth and anything else, to take a stand, to create opportunities for me, you know what I'm saying? And so when I think of him, that's what I think of. I mean, he was obviously the ultimate entertainer and he was big time in the ring, but yeah, that stand he took and the levels to which he took it to create opportunities for us today is, it's incredible.
And for those don't know what that stand is, he refused his injection into the United States Army because he refused to go because he didn't believe in the Vietnam War, and right. He did that for religious belief. So he did that. He was away from the boxing for 3 years. They stripped him of his license to fight. But when he came back and got it. So, and that was the first time that someone's ever relinquished it was one of the first times someone's ever relinquished the heavyweight title and to come back and get it. So salute to OG Muhammad Ali, Hank Aaron, big heroes, man. We'll never forget you. Coach, you're a self-taught basketball player, self-taught coach. When you saw The Last Dance this summer, how did you view Michael Jordan afterwards? And how do you see the MJ versus LeBron debate right now? Where are you at?
Man, I don't even get into that debate. Number one, they're two different players from two different eras.
Thanks.
And it's two different sports. People don't process the NBA. When I grew up, and I'm from Bad Boys days, the NBA now, two different sports. When Michael Jordan was playing, you could chop a guy in the throat, and it was a common foul, right? The Breakfast Club was started because the Pistons were beating up on them so bad, they knew they had to get stronger.
Right.
This era today, if you touch somebody, they whine and they cry and this and that. But I don't put it down because it's their game for this day. I just think it's two different games. It happens to use the same ball, but the rules are different. The approach to the game is different. So I think it's hard to compare it. The only problem I have, in the Last Dance is, again, I love MJ, but at the end of the day, nobody can talk about Isaiah Thomas, and I'm going to tolerate that. Isaiah Thomas is the man. Isaiah Thomas has a winning record against MJ in head-to-head competition, and Isaiah Thomas got it done and won championships with, quite frankly, less talent. If you really start thinking, I mean, Bill Laimbeer, all due respect, that's a plotter, man. You know what I'm saying? But they had a great coach. Chuck Daly was a great coach. But if I go through the roster pound for pound, it is what it is. And then if you think about it, MJ needed a Piston named Dennis Rodman to win a couple of them championships last time I took a look. But that being said,
okay, Detroit, I hear you.
Just from the
I hear you.
Huh?
I hear you. Born and raised in Detroit. I hear it. Man. I see it. Talk your shit. I hear it.
But MJ, man, he proved his point. So it is what it is. But
what was the point? What was the point? He was the greatest.
He proved the point that he was a good player in his day.
Just a good.
If you want to talk the greatest, man,
come on.
Everybody wants to forget a man named Bill
Michael Jordan.
Russell. Repeat after me, young buck.
Bill, give me a break.
Russell. Matter of fact, aren't y'all from Boston?
Give me a break.
Aren't y'all from Boston?
It don't matter. It don't matter.
11 championships in 13 years, and he coached the team.
Like you said, it was a different game, and they weren't playing like, come on.
That's what I'm trying to say. They're different days. So I think it's hard to say. It's like,
I mean, it is hard.
I don't think LeBron can get chopped in the throat and he keeps playing.
At 6'9", 270, playing back then? Come on. You think he was going to play soft back then?
No. If he played back then, he would have been used to those rules. I'm saying, but
he would have adjusted, and his greatness would have still shined. That's what I believe.
I don't know. I don't know if he would have adjusted. Because LeBron is he begs for a lot of calls.
Yeah, he does.
He begs for a lot of calls.
And I'm gonna go on record with this. Shout out to my man Lenny Cook. He was the number one player in the country at one point above LeBron, and politics got him. So I ain't trying to hear nothing.
Politics got
Lenny Cook. Go look it up.
Politics got
Lenny Cook was good.
Where's he at? Where's he at? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing?
But he was cooking cats in high school. He cooked LeBron. He cooked Carmelo.
He didn't cook LeBron. He played against LeBron. He didn't cook him. Stop.
They sat him
you exaggerate.
They sat him out in the summer league. Didn't even let him play head up. It is what it is. Because, I mean, everybody says that, but I'm telling you, politics kicks in. Like, Lenny said some things that he shouldn't have said, and some doors got closed on him. That's the reality, and that's life. That happens to all of us. That's real. There's a politics you got to keep, and there's some things you got to do if you want to be in certain spaces. But if I go back to that day, because I watched them play, if you take me back to when they were in high school and my money's on somebody, my money would have been on Lenny. Period.
But if you're starting a franchise, and those two are right there at the top, who are you taking?
Lenny or LeBron? I'm taking LeBron because
not argument over. Argument over.
No, it's not necessarily just because of hoop. It's the complete package. He brought the business with it. Lenny couldn't understand that, but that's a lot of kids in the hood don't understand that. If I got a chance to coach Lenny Cook in high school with my model, Lenny Cook is the greatest player of all time. I'm just telling you. Again, everybody wants to get amnesia if Len Bias don't smoke the wrong thing.
Yeah, Len Bias was bad.
I'm sorry, man. It's a lot of good players. That's why I don't hate on any of them. Because I love LeBron, and I love his game, and I love what he does. MJ, I just think they're different games, different days, and it's hard to compare, guys. I think you have to look at people who play at the same time under the same rules. It's kind of like me. I believe I've scored the most points in the history of my high school, but I don't have the most points. You know why? We didn't have a three-point line. Now they got a three-point line. So I'm like 8th or 9th. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't have a three-point line. You see where I was shooting from?
That's it.
Those are threes. Recalculate that. Go back through the film and recalculate.
So, Coach, right now, when you look at the league, this specific – so you got KD, Kyrie, and Harden on the same team. How do you feel about Harden forcing his way out of Houston, Nets making that trade, and how they look now? Can they win the championship?
Well, I have to be careful with that answer. But I'll say
you got to be careful. Come on.
I don't know that Harden forced his way out. I think it came down to when you're running an organization and somebody really doesn't want to be there, you have to make some choices and decisions. He still was under a contract. Right. So they could have very well kept him. I think they made I think they made a business decision that they felt was in their best interest as an organization. So I don't think it was as much Harden being able to force his way out. And I think a lot of players, for a variety of reasons, end up out of organizations for how they carry themselves professionally or otherwise. So I think, again, I think these players need to understand they're blessed to be in the position that they're in.
Most definitely.
Somebody needs to talk to them and spend time with them and get them to understand, like, there's a way that you need to carry yourself, especially when you've been given these God-given gifts that could have been given to somebody else. You're fortunate to have them. So that being said,
okay, because I'm coming at you. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Nets and Lakers in the finals.
Wow. Wow. You said all that. Okay, so I'm glad you said that.
Nixon, who?
I said the Nets and the Lakers in the finals.
That's exactly what I said.
Gotcha. So it's on wax. It's on wax. We can talk about the bets afterwards because I'm definitely putting the money on the Lakers. Right. But Coach, you said something very pointed I want to talk about. You said players need to act a certain way. They need to understand the politics, be professional. Cool. But what do you think about players being their own GMs and taking their agency into their own hands? A lot of these front offices for a lot of these teams are trash. And that's how a lot of people's careers get wasted. KG, for example, Kobe wasted 7 years before he got back to a championship. Like he could have got himself out of there. Paul Pierce was on the verge of doing it, on getting himself out of there.
I mean, that's a great point. Here's what I tell guys, because I totally agree with the theory of what you're saying. I'm not going to say people are trash. I think that people don't understand these are businesses. Right. So if you look at the old Clippers, and it was a racist owner, granted, but the business model he was running was profitable. It was profitable. And he was making decisions in terms of a P&L sheet. He wasn't making it necessarily in terms of winning championships. A lot of people get caught up into the championship piece, but championships are not always profitable. Winning teams. So I deal with that in the AAU side. If I run a pay-to-play program, I'm going to be profitable. When we're doing the Compton Magic, we're losing money. Kids are not paying us. You don't make money. And then when you are in between, so fortunately, we got a decent contract with Adidas later down the line. But when you're in the middle and you're just starting to make a move, you're hemorrhaging cash because you got these good players, so you can't charge them, but you also don't have a shoe deal. So it's almost bad business. So what I tell people is this: winning championships, you have to have a very good model for that always to make sense, because it gets very expensive. If you look at all the moves, the Nets trying to get JaVale, and it just came out in the press today, JaVale and Kevin Love possibly from Cleveland. That's expensive.
Sure is.
So that's why they got salary caps, and then if you go over the salary cap, you got to pay a luxury tax. That's more money. So there's a lot of things that go into winning championships and putting together rosters. It's not as simple as most people think. You don't just go get a player because you like him. I mean, it's got to fit within some parameters, right? So, again, my thing is that, it's about doing good business. And the fans don't always understand that. They just want to win a championship. I mean, let's face it, everybody want to win a championship every year. That's not reasonable. It's not realistic. I'm sure everybody in Cleveland wanted LeBron to stay. But that he wasn't staying because it wasn't good for his long-term plans. And he's from there, from Akron down the street. But so I just look at it as it's business, man. It's just all business. That's what the NBA is. It's business.
What you got, P?
No, I completely agree. I mean, I feel like for Houston, I think they should have just traded him from the jump street. I mean, just to avoid all the back and forth and him, coming into training camp overweight and all that stuff. I mean, if he announced he wants to, be out, let him go. I mean, because now you're going to bring a disgruntled player that's going to bring that, that attitude that he doesn't want to be there. And you could see what happened with him and John Wall and Boogie. They're going back and forth in the media and all this other stuff. So it's like, just let the player go. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if he's not happy there, what's the point of keeping him there? But like I said before, Nets are going to the finals. The Nets are going to the finals.
You're both a bugging. They're not going to reach
going
the finals.
To the finals.
You're both a bugging. But
those guys put their chemistry together and don't go to the finals, somebody's got to get fired.
Scary.
Kyrie got to go. They got to trade Kyrie next year. But that's another. We'll talk about that later. Coach, some of these young players in the league right now who just got these max contracts, I'm gonna give you a group of 4. Can they lead their teams to championships? Bam Adebayo in Miami, Mitchell out there in Utah, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum in Boston, and De'Aaron Fox. These guys all in the same draft class. They just got their cash. They got their extension. They got the bag. Can they lead their teams to make a deep run and challenge the Lakers or go to the finals?
When? Right now?
This year, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's nothing to expound on. If you bet against LeBron and you betting against KD, something wrong with you.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at the list and I'm looking at the teams. Miami, I don't think could do it. They don't have a deep enough team.
Miami's deep, bro. You're making it up.
They're okay. They're not deep enough. They don't have enough talent to go against KD, Harden, and Kyrie. Donovan Mitchell, you're in the West. That's not going to happen. Tatum, I think that team needs to be consistent. I think they're a big man away. Fox, forget about it. You're in Sacramento. Like, forget about it. Wow. You just keep the bag. Keep the bag. Enjoy your life. Kick your feet up. But yeah.
What do you think, Coach? Is all roads lead to Nets and Lakers?
LeBron, man, is it's not just that he's a good player. And I tell people this all the time. He is the ultimate professional, down to how he takes care of his body, how he plans and prepares. He does things at another level that other guys who are in the same locker room and see what he does refuse to do.
Right.
These other guys who are playing, man, they don't do it at that level. The reason I feel KD can do it is because I think his time in Golden State, he got an education that he didn't have prior to being there. He's going to be able to take that experience, and guys in this locker room now are going to be able to learn from, what does it take to really be a champion? Mm-hmm. And understand that, because that's a whole different level of thought. Because, the 82-game season, I think they're playing 72 this year, but that's one thing. But you got to beat a team in the playoffs 4 times, man.
Right.
That's a whole different season, and it's a whole different deal when somebody, all they have to do is prepare for you. And it's like, that's when you see it's mano y mano. And it's, I think when we get to the playoffs, that's when you start to see what the Nets, how they're going to be able to pick people apart, and you can't stop them. See, at the end of the day, people forget you have to winning championships is about defense and getting stops. Mm-hmm. How do you get stops against Kyrie, KD, and Harden?
I think it's the other way around. I think it's the other way around.
People can figure that out.
Their defense is trash. Kyrie doesn't play D. Harden doesn't play D. And they got torched for 42 by Colin, one-man show in Cleveland the other night, Colin Sexton.
The regular season.
Come on.
Right, it happens.
The regular season with the playoffs.
That's not going to happen in the playoffs. It's a different animal.
Yeah. And they're going to learn. See, those losses with that, now KD has ammunition when he's like, homie, we got to sit down and talk. Let's watch this game. Do you really? Because remember, Harden wanted to go where he wanted to go to win a championship. Now KD has ammunition to sit and talk and be like, bro, if we're going to get this done, this can't get done. That can't get done. This is what we were doing in Golden State. This is what this is like, Doc. And I think those kinds of conversations are starting to happen in that locker room, man. And guys will see a different product. Now, is that a guarantee? No. But I'm just telling you, they're so potent offensively that even if they get 5 stops, they're going to win. That group is going to shoot 50 to 60% from the field in the playoffs. You watch. When they got it going and clicking, because you can't guard them.
Right. Once that 7-footer gets going, like and the rest of the soldiers just gonna, follow right behind them, because KD offensively unstoppable. Who's checking him? I think there's nobody in the NBA that can check that man.
They can't.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But when you're in the playoffs, I mean, he gets more of the focus. So you got the plan is just like how the Mavericks did back in 2012. You get the ball out of his hands. You make somebody else beat you. That's all it is.
Exactly. And it's right. James Harden. And then when you rotate
playoff, comes down to. So from what I know is James Harden is a playoff choker. I've seen it. We've seen it. All you guys have seen it. He's come up short in the playoffs in key moments. Has he not?
He was the number one. Listen, he was the number one option on that team.
Tell him, coach.
He is now the number 2 or 3 option, depending on how you look at it. That changes the whole deal. Why do you think so many kids – let's reverse it. There are a lot of kids who think they're good because they're on these good teams and they're the 3rd and 4th option. So they transfer high schools, go to a new high school with their number 1 option, and now they're like, I can't get my shot off. There's reasons why, man. So I'm just telling you, like.
All right, so speaking of championships, I'm going to take a slight pivot to football. And we saw 2 12s go at it yesterday, 2 arguably the GOATs, depending on what side of the ball you're on. We saw Brady and Aaron Rodgers go at it. We all know Brady came out on top. Coach, just tell us, like, when you were watching that game, how do you feel about Tom Brady, and can he win another Super Bowl? Can he win number 7 against arguably the youngest GOAT that people are talking about that can be the greatest ever, and Patrick Mahomes, who's loaded on that side?
It's going to be a challenge, man. But he's been there and done that a lot.
10. So, this is his 10th Super Bowl.
And here is the interesting thing. See, everybody was trying to big up the coach. This is why I tell you, too, coaches think more of themselves than they
Who, Bruce Arians? Oh, he's trash. I do not. I think Bruce Arians should be fired after this season. But, hey, it is after this season. But even if they win or lose, he should be gone.
Bottom line is Brady's been there and done that. So, now Mahomes, he did his thing last year. So, he ain't no new booty either. But at the end of the day.
They got rings.
It's going to be it's going to come. I think it's going to come down to the defenses. Offensively, both teams are going to get stuff done. It's like who can get stops, who can get stops, and both quarterbacks have been seen to have a bad day. Does one of them happen to have a bad day?
Right.
One thing that happened yesterday that people are not talking about is Brady had played a great first half.
Second half.
Through 3 picks.
That's what I'm saying.
And completed less than 50% of his passes. So it's not just the defenses that got to show up. Brady has moments where he's looking Like, dude, like, what are you doing? He looked like
Yeah.
Breeze last
He
week. Like,
looked
yo,
his
like,
age.
you
He
look
looked
old.
his
Like,
age.
come on. Like, what are you doing over there? Like, why are you taking that shot? So it's going to be interesting, man. And it's dope, man, because being from Boston, like, we're used to him going to the Super Bowl with the Patriots. Now we got all these Patriots Buccaneers fans. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
These by fans.
Right. So, coach, man, it's just so like when you talking about championships, can they sustain this? Like, can they? Like, I know you've gone up against a stacked team on your AAU circuit and your high school circuit. What do you tell your players when you're going up against a team that has just star players, has that have the talent to beat you? How do you what are you saying in the locker room right now? During this week, if you're Bruce Arians.
Again, I'm telling guys, don't worry about the other side of the ball. Be the best version of yourself. You don't have to be the best team. You have to be the best team today. And that's what the goal is. Let's be the best team today. And I'm spending all week finding their weaknesses. Because as great as every team is, we're all human. We all got a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is, can I exploit that weakness enough and consistently enough, in that 60 minutes to walk out of there with the Lombardi trophy, man.
What did you think, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it before, D. I think, first of all, whichever team, establishes the run, because that run's going to be key, because you have to keep one of those quarterbacks off the field. So I think the Bucs running game these last couple of weeks has been doing good. And if they, do the same during the Super Bowl, like, I think they're going to be all right. Especially, because Leonard Fournette has been running the ball good. Jones been running the ball good. But we gotta keep 15 off the field. Because I'm going for the Bucs. I'm sorry, I'm going for the Bucs. Brady is my guy. But yeah, we got to keep 15 off the field with those weapons. Oh my gosh.
And it does come down to running, because clock management in football is key.
It's key.
Brady is really not the most important piece. It's, can you run and get 3-4 yards a chip? Because if you can keep doing that without turning the ball over, you put yourself in a very good position. That's why I've always believed the way to win football games is to get a 7 to 10 point lead and run the ball and just be really good at it.
Right. No, I agree.
That's facts. Oh, man, we covered a lot today, fellas, man. P, we're going to transition all over to our WTF, man. What you got for us this week? Your what the fuck moment.
My what the fuck moment of the week. What the fuck moment of the week, I would want to say, what's my what the fuck moment? Damn, let me see, because there was a lot going on. Maybe I want to say the Bills and the way that they didn't show up there in the second half. Because I honestly thought that the Bills was definitely gonna go out and beat Kansas City. I was one of those guys because I wanted Brady to go out and go against the Bills, because I think he can get over the Bills. But yeah, that first half, just seeing the Bills, run the ball, and put some points on the board, keeping Pat Mahomes at bay, and they just didn't hold up. Diggs didn't show up. Well, Diggs did show up. No, that defense had him on lock. That defense definitely had him on lock. So that was my what the fuck moment, because I thought that they was gonna prevail, man. I was low key going for the Bills, and they let me down.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Super Bowl.
Lit. Coach, so every week we do this one last thing before we wrap up, man. We just give the people a takeaway and inspirational for them to take away, because we just think that's important, just to leave the people with as a gift. So we're all just going to go around just giving inspirational, man. Is there anything that you want to leave the people with? I know, like we talked before. I mean, you just want to, just always being your best version of yourself. You're on mute, Coach.
Sorry.
You're all good.
There you go.
Yeah. So they put me in this book, but I think that's the quote I'll leave everybody with is the success is the result of great habits, tremendous sacrifice, intense preparation, good karma, and fearing God. Everything else takes care of itself.
What about you, P?
X's, O's, and W's if you get a chance.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like that. I like that. I want to leave the people with this quote. I believe you can, and you're halfway there. So just, don't doubt yourself. Believe that you can, overcome anything and everything, and you're halfway there. Just, having that believe in yourself.
Yeah. And what I want to leave the people with is just to believe. Have the audacity to believe. Tom Brady, after almost 20 seasons with the Patriots, left an all-time Hall of Fame coach to go somewhere and prove people wrong because he believed. He believed in himself. He believed that everything that he's learned up to this point that he can go out and execute. Believing self-belief and love and loving who you are and understanding understanding your strengths and just really believing that you got that dog in you and that you really want to win. You can go out there and do it. Believe in yourself. You don't need nobody else to believe in you. You got to look yourself in the mirror and really believe in yourself, man, and really take it to heart and really go out there and execute. I think there are a lot of players, a lot of coaches out here that put on the uniform, strap up every day, go through the motions. Stop going through the motions. Believe in yourself and dig down, dig deep, and really grind it out. It's going to get hard. It's not going to look good. It's not going to feel good sometimes. But like Muhammad Ali said, it's like I'd rather train. I train every day. He said he hated training every day, but he knew he did it because he knew he'd win. So just believe in yourself. Coach, man, we thank you so much for locking in with us. Thank you for the time. I think that everyone's going to walk away from this episode trying to be the best version of themselves, man, and being a giver and just going out there and being a dog and really competing. That's exactly what I took away from, listening to you, man, in your journey, man. We just thank you. We thank you so much, man. I want to give you all your flowers now, Coach. What about you, Pete?
Appreciate it. One thing that, Coach and I was speaking about during the break is putting God first and everything and being intentional when it comes to, your relationship with God and just letting God, take the wheel in your life, and you'll see the blessings, once you do that, walking by faith.
Walking by faith. All right, everyone. Go right now, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Talk Your Ish Sports Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts. And I say it again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on IG. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. And again, we thank you guys for pulling up to the first edition of the Coach's Lounge. Of many more. This is a special guest. We pay homage to Coach Middlebrooks, and we wish you all the best, next season once outside open back up, Coach. And as soon as I get out to LA, I'm definitely going to come out, check out a practice in the game, man. But again, we thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Talk Your Shit Sports Podcast, and we out.